Hello everyone, this is Shintai from Shintai Reviews on behalf of Classic Elite. Today I'm going to be doing a review of Disgaea 2, a grid-based RPG and sequel to Disgaea Hour of Darkness, developed by Nipponichi Software and published by NIS America. This is specifically a review of the PS2 version. Graphically, Disgaea 2 is by no means a powerhouse. I would go as far as to say this game could have run on the PS1, as evidenced by how it was ported to the PSP. The environments are in 3D and the characters are hand-drawn sprites. While the environments don't look anything special, the sprites actually look really good for an older game. The game also has a distinct anime style to it, which can either pull or push players depending on who you are. I quite like the art style, and I think it gives the game a certain charm, but it might not be for everyone. Still, to those who it does appeal to, will more than likely appreciate it, and makes it easier to look past the dated, even by PS2 standards visuals. I have to say flat out that the music in this game is fantastic. We've got some really funky tracks here that add even more to this game's charm. The music is very unlike other songs that I've listened to, and really suits the game well, as it's just as quirky as the game itself. The voice work in this game is also done very well, with some top-notch voices here, such as Michelle Ruff, Wendy Lee, and Mary Elizabeth McGlynn. Now, story-wise, this game is actually very satirical. This is not a game with a deep or complex story by any means. It's actually quite funny and pokes fun at not only itself, but the RPG genre, and among other things. I really enjoyed this aspect of the game, because it's something different from what we're used to. Most games try very hard to tell a deep or complex story that tries to move the player, but this game just tries to make you laugh. It's just trying to be goofy, and honestly, I did find myself laughing quite a bit. It's something I very much appreciated, and I wish newer games would emulate. Now, that isn't to say there isn't a story here, because there is, and it's a nice one at that. Even if it gets serious though, it never forgets what it is. Also, I have to mention that even though this game is a direct sequel to the original, for the exception of 2 characters, this is an entirely new cast. So you don't even need to have played the original at all in order to enjoy this one. As stated before, Disgaea 2 is a grid-based RPG, and a damn good one at that. It's chock full of content. There is literally hundreds of hours worth of content here if you really want to delve into it. Now, if you don't want to put in that many hours into the game, which is understandable, there is still a sizable and satisfying main campaign to sink your teeth into, which will probably clock you in about 40 to 50 hours. However, I have to warn you that this game contains copious amounts of grinding. Now, for the main campaign, it isn't too bad. Granted, you will be doing it more than your average RPG, but I don't think it's ever going to go to some ridiculous degree if all you're trying to do is beat the game normally. However, if you're interested in doing any of the extra content after you beat the game, that is where the extreme levels of grinding will occur. Getting off that, however, let us discuss the combat itself. If you've played games like Fire Emblem, Vanguard Bandits, or Final Fantasy Tactics, you should feel right at home. However, unlike those games, this one is all about the skills you unleash in battle. Each character, depending on what weapon they use or what class they are, will determine what skills they have. These skills can be used multiple times, and they can all be leveled up individually. I feel this encourages the player to use them more often, and as much as they can. Each skill also has certain limitations. Some can only hit one character. Some have a yellow field that needs to be empty in order for the skill to be used. This makes it so that some skills are more useful than others depending on the situation. This game also has a mana system. Whenever you kill an enemy, you get mana. This can be used in the Dark Assembly in order to get things approved, such as increasing your movement, having more items in the shop, or having more classes. It's a deep and comprehensive system that a lot of people can really get a lot out of. I have to say that if you're new to these kinds of games, Disgaea 2 is not necessarily a bad option, as the main game is fairly easy up until towards the end. But this game is mostly geared towards veterans of the genre due to the dense amount of content stuffed in this game. Disgaea 2 is a great grid-based RPG, Despite its dated visuals, it has a great art style to it, if that's your thing. It has wonderful music, solid voice work, a story that will actually make you laugh, and an incredibly deep and rewarding combat system and mana system. The version of the game I'm playing is the one available on the PlayStation Network for $10. It was emulated almost perfectly and plays almost as if it was part of an HD collection. If you were to get this game, I would certainly recommend this version, since an original copy can be quite pricey, particularly if you're shooting for the PSP version. Regardless of how you get it, however, this is a great game, particularly for veterans of the genre, but not bad for newcomers. This has been Shintai, folks. Take it easy.